This is the full blueprint on how I scaled from 2K in May to 30K in August, literally just last month. And I'm just gonna outline what I did, what those steps were. It was not perfect. It was not clean or pretty. It was basically, let me start a fire and figure out how to put it out on the way. But having, somewhat put that fire out now, having scaled, having created some systems, now I have some really interesting learnings to share with you guys about exactly how I did that. So I've got a handy dandy Miro board, which I'm gonna share with you guys here on my screen, and basically just take you through where I was in May to where I am now, and more importantly, what those steps were. So there's pretty much I would say 5 steps to do that, and pretty simple. But if you just follow this and you duplicate what I did, you can do it a lot cleaner than how I did it. So that's the goal. But you're obviously gonna have to start with outreach. You are gonna start with outreach, which is gonna lead to sales. And then we're gonna talk about how to onboard more clients. I actually just created a video about my systems for that. So I will link that, I guess, in this video. Definitely worth checking it out. Then we're gonna talk about the delivery, because as you scale that fast, which, scaling from 2K to 30K is not actually relatively that crazy. I know people that, they do 20, 30, 40K in their first month of starting a new business. They usually have some type of entrepreneurial experience, but it's all relative. 2K to 30K is not really that insane, but it is pretty cool. So I'm just sharing what my life experience has been and what I've learned. So the next problem you're gonna run into is the delivery, and the problem after that is the team. And yes, every single one of these, as you solve that problem, it leads to another. As you solve the problem of not having enough sales, now you have the problem of having to deliver on too many sales, or, just having to run into those bottlenecks, and maybe you don't have systems in place. Nobody really has a system in place until it's required, and then they build out the system. So that's sort of what we're going to be covering. And these are the beginning phases. All right. So in January, I'm just giving sort of the timeline of where I was with these dates that you see here. But basically you start with nothing. When you're starting anything, you don't have a lead list. Usually you don't have the skill set necessarily. Maybe you have some skills, but it's usually you start with nothing, you get an idea, then you start watching videos and you start practicing. Maybe you binge some courses, some YouTube videos, some 4-hour free masterclass on YouTube. You start reaching out to the people you know. At least if you're doing it right, you should reach out to people on your warm list of leads, which is people you know first, before going on Instagram and cold DMing and spamming and God knows what. So that's what you do first. And then you're going to sign some clients. You're going to probably get your first client. Maybe they're not the greatest client because you're kind of desperate, but you're going to sign some clients, which is going to inspire some confidence. You're going to start booking more calls, more confidence on the sales calls. It's going to scale you to 10K. That's the trajectory. It took me from January to June. It was actually more like February, because February is when I had the idea. So from February to June, that's really when I first started copywriting. Well, I met my first client in February, but I really didn't start copywriting until March, because it was end of February, I think. So let's say March to June was really because March was when I actually got the money. March I made 2K, and then June I made 10K. But even March, April, May, I was making 2K, and then June I made 10K. And this is the framework. This is the process. This is what it looks like. So I made a little illustration here, but basically you start by creating this service, and I just sketched it out. But you create this service, and it's you do one of this thing and you get paid, the equivalent value of that thing. So every time you do that thing, you get paid. Let's say you're to write 3 emails a week, you charge $1,000 a month. So every time you deliver on, what would that be? 3 times 4, 12 emails, you get paid $1,000. So, you have that one transaction, you get that payout. Simple, right? But as you scale, you want more leverage on your time. Because how many emails can you actually write before you have no more time left? Just a little disclaimer, when I was going through the games, I was working 16 to 18 hours a day. And now post games, I thought I was gonna rest. I work 16 hours a day still. So I know a lot of people, they go really hard for 1 month and then their business kind of flops the next month. And that was really my greatest fear, was not maintaining that work ethic and not maintaining that deliverability of all the people I just promised. And I wanted to scale beyond 30K. So I maintained that work ethic that helped me win the games. And when I tell you, like, some days I come to this, like the kitchen in my Airbnb. I come sit down here at like 7 a.m. and I start working, and I usually have like a call. I have a call with my team member from 9 to 10, and then I have some other calls mixed in. But I literally watch the sun come up. It comes up around like 6:37, and I watch the sun go down. And if I'm lucky, I go outside to, get an Uber Eats order. So it's probably like twice a week that I leave here and like actually go do something besides. And like when I leave here, I go into this town where they have like a co-working space, and some of my friends work there, and I go and I work with them, or I go to a cafe, and like that's an adventure for me right now. And it's like nice because it's California, so it's right near the beach, and I can walk down to the ocean. But that's what it looks like. And I'm not complaining. I love my life. Like, that probably isn't something that sounds appealing to most people, but like to me, this is a freaking dream. I dreamed about this. Like 6 months ago, I was like, I just wanted something to work this hard for. And now I have it, and I'm so grateful for it. And there's nothing I would rather be doing right now. This is genuinely, like, I love this. I love working. So that's a disclaimer. If you don't love it like that, maybe you just need to make your first few sales and then you'll get hooked. But if you're just like working because you want to have an endless vacation, I'm sorry, but it's gonna be really hard for you to be competitive, because there are people like me probably going up against you who just love working to work, and you're always gonna lose to people that love to work. So if you're like me and you just genuinely love working hard and you're passionate about building something, and you're in business because you love business, not because you want to make money, it's gonna be easy for you. Like, game over, because everyone else is just there to make money. So those people have like such an edge above the rest of the people in the game, because you're going to outlast them. You're going to outlast the struggles, the rejections, the ups and downs, the roller coaster, the relationships that you have to sacrifice, the friendships you have to sacrifice. I live on the other side of the country from my family, and I just work here because I'm able to focus. I don't have my old high school friends or anyone here to distract me. I literally only know business people here in California. So it's really easy to stay focused because I don't even know anyone else. Anyways, that was such a tangent, but you start with that delivery of, you trade a service for a product, and you have to actively do something, or for a amount of money, and you have to actively do that thing every time you want that amount of money. And then you start to leverage your skill set, so you can start charging more because your skills are better. And because you have credibility, people see, oh, like you work with Max Pearson or you work with Ted Carr, I want to work with you. So those are things that I've leveraged by improving my skill set, getting better clients, then I can leverage that. You also start to leverage systems. So you build out these systems so that you don't have to spend as much time creating that content or communicating with that client or running that onboarding process, because you have systems. You start to build a team. So now you can delegate. You have even more leverage over your time. You can teach something once, teach them how to write that email once, and now still make money every time they write that email. They make money from it, but you also make a cut of it. So now you have more leverage, and you can just see in this illustration, it's, same SKU, but now you're trading that one product and you're making a lot more money on it. An example of this too is if you do a rev share. So let's say you build a sales page, and when you start off, you're charging $1,000 per sales page. That means every time you want $1,000, you have to build a sales page. But if you flip it and you're like, to your client, you tell them, hey, every time you make a sale through my sales page, I just want a 5% cut. So our incentives are aligned. You don't have to pay me anything up front. I'm going to build you a really good sales page, and I just want 5% on all of the sales. And let's say they have a $20,000 package, right? You do the math. I don't know what 5% of 20,000, that would be 1,000? Yeah. So $1,000 hits your bank account every time a sale comes through that account. And guess what? You build the sales page once. Maybe you go in and you update the copy once a month, or for different dates, you add in some different details, some different testimonials, but you built that once, and your leverage is extremely high for how much money you can make off that. So that's the thing you want to start leveraging. All right. Now, this is an illustration of leverage, what we were just talking about. So it's just that relationship between how much time you're putting into a task and how much money you can get back from that. So if you can put a little bit of time and make a lot of money, you have a lot of leverage. Like, the more successful you are, for example, the more leverage you have when it comes to your hours on a call. Like, you can charge, I think that's like a weird way to say it, but like maybe when you're starting off, you can charge $50 for a coaching call because you're only a couple steps ahead of them. But then you go and you work for some cool clients. Now you're charging $500. Then you go and you accomplish something crazy. You hit like 20K, 30K, 50K, 100K. Now you charge $1,000 for an hour of your time. You can just keep increasing that. Cause like if you want a call with like Alex Hormozi, I think he said that a call with him was worth $100,000 or something. It's probably worth more than that now. But an hour with Alex Hormozi where you can just like pick his brain is worth so much because of like what you're going to learn. You're going to make way more money than that if you apply it. So the more you accomplish, the more leverage you have over your time. You're also able to hire employees and all that. So, you know, you can put less time in, get more output from it. So this is, perfect. Increase your input to output ratio. All right. So this is the process. You start off here. You have new clients, new work. You're making it up as you go. This is where I started. I literally was making it up as I went. I was learning the softwares. I was learning the CRMs. I was learning how to write an email as I had clients asking me for those things. It was like literally as I was signing clients, I was learning how to service them. And I was so committed to getting the good results that I was learning it freaking well. There was nobody more hungry to deliver good results. So like if for example, they had a new CRM, I didn't know, like Shopify. I signed a client that had a Shopify store and I went and I spent hours and hours and hours studying Shopify. So I knew all the new updates. I knew all the intricacies and I went in and I delivered incredible results for them because I really wanted to learn it well. And so that's where you start. You got to be willing to sign clients before you know everything. You start by just making it up as you go, and it's stressful and you're confused and you don't know if this system is working or not. And then you get to this point where you're starting to see some things work and some things not. You're like, oh, those email subject lines that are really long are terrible and no one's clicking them. And these short punchy subject lines are getting way more open rates. Maybe I should go with those ones. So you're noticing what works and what doesn't. Then you get to this point where you just create systems around what works. So now you have a system where you can come up with really quick subject lines, and you have a system where you can onboard clients really fast, and you have a system where you can make sales and generate leads really easily, and you have someone taking your sales calls, and you have someone doing your onboarding, you have somebody, doing their client research, and you have all these things in place, and now you have leverage, and you're optimizing for what works because you had to go through that phase of not having things that worked. So I had no idea how to write emails back in May, but I was just writing a lot of emails every day until I could see what worked. And then I optimized for those kind of emails and I built a framework around it so that when I had a new client, I could go and I knew what research to look for. I knew how to build a story. I knew how to ask the right questions from them so I could get things that were going to create viral content out of them. And so then I just basically created a system. I had certain questions that I asked every client. And now I have a form that I just have them fill out. So I'm like systemizing it more and more and more. And now I have these research techniques, which I talked about in the last video, that allow me to onboard them really fast. And so I just built all these systems around what worked because I went through that phase of having one or two clients and really having to do that trial and error process and see what worked and do unlimited revisions until they had exactly what they wanted because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was hungry. And so I was communicating with them all the time and I was making sure things were working and I was tweaking it as they needed it, unlimited revisions, like I said. And so I could learn what worked and what didn't. But I wasn't waiting until I thought I was perfect to get a client. Because if you do that, you're never going to get a client. You're never going to feel like you can write perfectly. In fact, it's only in the last 2 months that I look back and I'm like, wow, I actually feel like I'm a really good copywriter now. And I've been copywriting for clients for longer than that and onboarding people and charging people thousands of dollars for copywriting. But when I first started onboarding copywriting clients, I'm like mixing up my words now. When I first started though, I would onboard people and I would just write a ton and I would find the best pieces that I'd written for them. And that's what I would submit to them. Now I can go and in 15 minutes, I can write a killer email. And I was talking to somebody, I think maybe my mom. And I was like, it's crazy. It's only the last couple months, winning the school games and now doing all this delivery. I look back and I'm like, holy crap, I'm one of the best freaking copywriters I know. It's really good stuff. And it's because I went through that phase of being bad. Because you can't be a good copywriter without being a bad copywriter first. It's the process. Nobody is born with that skill set. It is a very unique kind of communication that you just got to learn. So those are the phases. Now this is the kind of systems you want to create. And this is just what I've learned since, onboarding a lot of clients and just having literally no time. And I was like, wow, I need to create systems because this is just crazy. And so I got things like Trello, highly recommend Trello because you can just create this project management thing, which you see listed as one of the systems here, that you're able to organize your own to-do list. Like you're able to organize where your clients are, put their information into that. I'm not sponsored by Trello. I have freaking like 400 subscribers. I don't think they would sponsor me anyway, but it is a great platform and it's free. So I use that. And it's also something that I can share with, like, I have one person I'm onboarding onto my team right now, and I can share it with her. And I can just show her like, hey, this is the task you're working on. All their research is in here. Go and write an email. And I can share with her all the other welcome series that I've written and be like, hey, reference these, use this framework, use this kind of technique to write your subject and to write your headline and to write your intro sentence. And it's just so easy. So you want to create a system around that. You want onboarding systems like I talked about in the last video, where you just can onboard clients and it's seamless and you know exactly what information you need to get from them. You know what you need to deliver to them within the first 24 hours to make sure they're happy. You have those communication systems built in. So maybe you check in with your clients twice a week or once a month or whatever it is. You set that up and it's systemized. So there's a reminder on your phone, or there's an auto DM that goes out, or there's someone on your team that sends a message. You systemize it. Then you have workflow systems so that you know what the different tasks on your computer are and what you got to start with, what you got to finish with, what the prioritized ones are, and you have a system around that. And you can only do that by just actually doing the work. So, but the project management and workflow is going to be so much easier if you have some type of like platform. I think there's other ones besides Trello too, but that's just the one I use, where you can like list them out, you can prioritize them, you can have reminders set up, you can share it with a team member, you can upload all their research information into there. You could probably even create a board for your client if you wanted to. And then you have a system for sales, so that you know that you're constantly making sales and scaling your company at the rate that you want to scale it to. So that is my list of systems, and there's more, but good systems equal time saved. So this is what it starts to look like as you create these systems and then build out a team. So there's you, and at the start, you're doing all these things. You're doing the sales calls, then you're, managing the relationship with your clients, you're making sure they're happy. You're the one onboarding them. You're the one doing the outreach to initiate those sales. You're the one creating the funnels and writing the emails and writing the ads. You're managing all your back end, all the payment gateways, the calendar integrations, all of that. But eventually, these all become roles. So you build a sales team. You have someone taking your calls. You have someone doing your outreach. You have an onboarding guy that helps the client once they're sold. Then you have a client success manager that manages those client conversations and manages the different tweaks that they want to make to their copy. You have a content team that is writing the content, designing the graphics, building the funnels for your clients. You have a back-end systems team. You're the one that's connecting them. So you make the profit, but you're also responsible for all the risk and responsible for this team. So if you decide to go the agency route, that's what it starts to look like. There's lots of other ways to scale. Like you can scale by doing rev shares, you can scale by doing partnerships, you can scale by just creating your own product, but this is sort of the blueprint of what it would look like to actually scale successfully to 30K and beyond and start to bring on a team. So right now I'm focusing on my content team. I have somebody for graphics. I have somebody that's helping me with the content. I do all of the checks and the quality reviews of the content. I do the back end currently, but I do have an automations guy that I'm integrating into that. Sales is all me still. So the sales and the onboarding is all me. And then the client success manager, I have somebody that helps with that as far as like messaging, but that is definitely something that I'm going to be looking to build out. Like I said, this has been like one of the craziest like months of my life. So I'm figuring this out and I'm just sharing it as I learn it. But if you guys want like a more in-depth look at what I did to scale to 30K and you want to go and duplicate that for yourself, there's a link below. I will say this, I do not work with most people that click that link. Number one, you have to have English as your first language. I can't teach you copywriting in a different language. So English has to be your first language. You have to be proficient in it. And if you really want help, I only work with really committed people and I only work with 5 people a month. So that's a disclaimer there. Don't click the link if you're not interested in like actually getting serious about copywriting and putting in a ton of work. I don't really do part-time projects. I go full-time in whatever it is I'm doing. So those are the kind of people I like to work with. But that being said, lots more videos coming. You can learn everything you need to know for free. There's no reason you need to sign for a course. A course just like accelerates the process. But I learn most things for free and I just pay for courses for things that I want to accelerate with. But I'm uploading a bunch more videos. It's been a crazy month. If you've noticed my content, I've uploaded a lot less the last couple of weeks because I've been so focused on delivery. Like I said, I onboarded like over 30 clients in the last 30 days. And so it's been crazy. But that's why I've been able to learn all this so fast, because the harder you go, the faster you grow. Oh, that rhymed. the harder you go, the faster you grow, and the more you learn in a condensed period of time, and you can just scale faster. So it's like kind of just like how much pain are you willing to endure? That's how much like growth you're gonna see. And so if you condense it over a short period of time, it's gonna be painful. You're gonna sleep less. You're gonna probably see your friends less. I don't see my friends at all. And I eat every meal at my desk, and I haven't worked out in a week because I have like maybe one day a week that I'll go for a run. But that's the phase that I'm in right now, and those are sacrifices I'm happy to make right now because I know it's not forever. I'm already onboarding a team, building out these systems, and so this is just a glimpse into that process as I scale and grow. Hope you guys are crushing it. Hope you're killing it. Maybe I'll see you on a call at some point. Maybe I'll see you in my free community link below. I don't know, but go crush it. Go make some sales. Go make some money. Scale like crazy. Grow like crazy. And yeah, you got this.